government will continue to have pending bills. They're going to borrow more, so we are going to pay anyway. And their argument is that it's hurting Kenyans. I don't know why they think that in 2020 it will not hurt Kenyans. That's why I call it disingenuous. They're not being honest. First, remember, transport sector is one of our biggest sectors in terms of employment and everything else. We already had businessmen in the transport sector giving warnings, right? That because of that, they were going to raise fares. So the first thing is that our average worker, whether you drive a car or whether you use public transport, your costs of transportation have gone up. So obviously there's a bigger claim on your wages. So that's already reducing your ability to spend your money in other ways. It means you're going to have to cut up something else in order to, or your savings, in order to be able to pay for your transport in the day. Yeah. Then it has a ripple effect. Most of our food, especially for those in urban areas, is processed by manufacturing firms, and then it is transported. In both the processing and the transportation, they use fuel. So obviously that was also going to impact that, so that it's the cost of the food and the cost of the fuel is going to would rise as well. It would also have geographical impacts that are different. So remember that, for instance, in this country, because of our model of pricing fuel, petroleum in the coast and petroleum in the hinterland cost different things. So the people who are in the hinterland, who also tend to be poorer, will also have a higher effect. So the inflation effect will be geographically different. And the farther you are from Mombasa, the more you'd suffer from that effect, because you'd be paying for a higher cost of fuel. So it has general effects, and it also has specific effects based on where you are. But in general, it would raise some money for government, but at the same time, it would also really hurt, especially your average consumer at the household level. I think it is delaying the pain, and my view is that Parliament is disingenuous. Whatever fault we may place with the Executive, Treasury and the President, because his management team are responsible for where we are here, I think Parliament is being disingenuous. Remember, this is the third time we've deferred it, right? Because it first came in when the bill was, when the VAT bill was first refurbished in 2014, then it came out in 2016. They decided it would be too close to the elections, and now we've kicked it into 2020. And their argument is that it's hurting Kenyans. I don't know why they think that in 2020 it will not hurt Kenyans. Yeah. So my view is that they need that fix. So if they were going to reduce, or rather refuse to give the pains we accept at the IEA, those pains are real. But if they say that they're interested in not harming the public by making sure that we don't have those, that tax, then one of the things they should have done is they should have advised the Cabinet Secretary to cut taxes, to cut expenditure by a similar amount so that the budget remains in balance. They haven't done that. They're being irresponsible by refusing to pass this and then telling the Cabinet Secretary, go and sort yourself out. And you know what's going to happen. They're going to borrow more, so we are going to pay anyway. Because remember, they passed a budget, right? Our 3+ trillion budget, right? Okay? So basically, they have not, and remember that budget was passed with the presumption that the Cabinet Secretary had also made a proposal for how that budget would be funded. So they've given appropriations, which the President has signed as well, passed him, told him, spend this amount of money. But now they're saying you can't raise the taxes that would pay for that. So that's why I call it disingenuous. They're not being honest. If they were doing that, then they should have said, and we therefore say that you should not spend this amount and this amount. Because what will happen is, in January next year, or even sooner, the Cabinet Secretary will come without a supplementary budget in which he will be seeking to raise money another way. And more often than not, most probably it will be raising money, whether domestically or some other way, or government will continue to have pending bills, which is basically they do stuff and then they hope to pay for it in subsequent years. So our debt position does not change because of this decision that the Parliament has made.